Commander Eric Harper sat in his chair on the bridge of the starship Odyssey. The control panels around him glowed softly, showing the ship's status. The crew was quiet, focused on their tasks. They had been traveling through deep space for weeks, searching for any sign of other humans. Suddenly, a soft beep broke the silence. Lieutenant Natalie Brooks turned to Harper, her face serious. "Commander, we are receiving a distress signal. It's weak, but it's human." Harper stood up and walked over to her station. "Where is it coming from?" he asked. Brooks typed on the screen. "A planet 2 light-years away. The signal is old, but it's still active." Harper looked at his crew. "Set a course," he ordered. "Let's find out who's sending it." The Odyssey moved through space, heading toward the planet. As they got closer, the crew studied the data. Dr. Melissa Carter, the ship's scientist, frowned. "This planet was supposed to be uninhabited," she said, "but these readings show ruins and signs of a former colony." Harper nodded. "Prepare a landing team. We need to find out what happened." The ship entered orbit around the planet. The surface was rocky and covered in dust. There were remains of buildings, half buried in the sand. The team, wearing protective suits, stepped onto the surface. Jason Turner, the team's engineer, looked around. "This place is dead," he said, "but someone left that signal running." They moved through the ruins carefully. Carter found an old terminal inside a broken building. "If this still works, I might be able to access the data," she said. Turner helped her power up the terminal. The screen flickered, then a video message appeared. A tired-looking man with a beard spoke. "This is Captain Daniel Reeves. If anyone finds this message, humanity is in danger. We were attacked by an alien force called the Vereth. They destroyed everything. We tried to fight, but we had no chance." The message cut off suddenly. The team looked at each other. Harper clenched his fists. "We need to learn more about these Vereth," he said. "If they destroyed this colony, they could come for the rest of us." As they explored further, Brooks called out, "Commander, over here." She had found a small underground shelter. Inside, there were bones and a few personal belongings. Carter picked up a small data chip. "This could have more information," she said. They returned to the Odyssey and plugged the chip into the ship's system. More messages appeared. Some were logs of people trying to escape. Others spoke of hidden human outposts. One message caught their attention. "The Vereth are hunting us," the message said, "but there is a place where some humans survived. A hidden colony deep in space." Harper turned to his crew. "This could be the last safe place for humans," he said. "We need to find it." The crew nodded. The journey was just beginning, and they had to move fast. If the Vereth were still out there, humanity had little time left. The Odyssey traveled through deep space, following the coordinates found in the old message. Commander Eric Harper sat in the captain's chair, watching the stars outside. The crew worked quietly, focused on their mission. Lieutenant Natalie Brooks checked the navigation system. "We are approaching the location," she said. "There is something here, but I can't tell what." Harper leaned forward. "Slow down the ship. Scan the area." Dr. Melissa Carter looked at her screen. "I see a small station. It's not showing any life signs, but it still has power." Harper stood up. "Prepare a team. We will check it out." The Odyssey stopped near the station. A docking tube connected the two ships. Harper, Brooks, Carter, and engineer Jason Turner entered the airlock. The door opened slowly, revealing a dark hallway. The air was stale, and dust covered the walls. Turner turned on his flashlight. "It looks abandoned," he said. Carter checked a control panel. "Some systems are still working. I might be able to access the logs." The team moved carefully through the station. They found rooms with broken equipment, old food containers, and personal belongings left behind. It was clear that people had lived there, but something had forced them to leave. Carter stopped at a terminal and powered it up. The screen flickered, showing an old log entry. A woman's voice played through the speakers. "This is Commander Evelyn Ross. We were part of the last human fleet. The Vereth found us. We hid here, but we knew it wouldn't last. If anyone finds this, know that humanity still has a chance. There is a hidden colony." The message cut off. The screen went dark. Brooks frowned. What happened to them? Turner checked a side panel. The power is failing. We need to get this data back to the Odyssey. Harper nodded. Take what you can. We are leaving soon. As they worked, a loud noise echoed through the station. Something was moving in the dark. Brooks grabbed her weapon. Did you hear that? Harper signaled for silence. They listened. The sound came again, like metal scraping against metal. Carter whispered, "We are not alone." A shadow moved at the end of the hallway. Then red lights appeared, 2 glowing eyes. A mechanical voice spoke. "Intruders detected." Turner stepped back. "That's not human." A robot moved forward. Its body was damaged, and sparks flickered from its joints. It raised an arm, and a small weapon appeared. Harper aimed his rifle. "Stand down." The robot did not stop. It fired. The crew jumped for cover as a red beam shot past them. Brooks fired back, hitting the robot's arm. Sparks flew, but the machine kept coming. Harper took a deep breath. "Fall back to the airlock." Now. They ran, dodging the robot's attacks. Turner stopped to grab the data chip from the terminal, then followed the others. The robot chased them, its metal feet pounding against the floor. The airlock door was ahead. "Open it," Harper shouted. Carter pressed the control panel. The door slid open. The crew rushed inside. Turner hit the emergency release button, and the airlock sealed shut. A loud bang shook the door as the robot tried to break through. Then, there was silence. Back on the Odyssey, the team removed their helmets. Harper turned to Turner. "Did you get the data?" Turner held up the chip. "Yes. We have the location of the hidden colony." Harper nodded. "Good. Let's get out of here." The Odyssey moved away from the station. As they left, the robot inside stood still, its red eyes watching them disappear into the darkness of space. The Odyssey moved through space, heading toward the hidden colony. Commander Eric Harper sat on the bridge, watching the stars. The crew worked quietly, focused on their mission. They had the data chip, but they still did not know what waited for them at their destination. Lieutenant Natalie Brooks checked the ship's scanners. "We are close," she said. "The coordinates lead to a dense asteroid field." Harper nodded. "Slow down. Let's be careful." Dr. Melissa Carter studied her screen. "I don't see any signals. If the colony is here, they are hiding well." Engineer Jason Turner frowned. "Asteroids could be blocking the signals. We need to move in closer." The Odyssey entered the asteroid field, weaving through the floating rocks. The crew held their breath as the ship dodged debris. Suddenly, an alarm beeped. Brooks looked up. "Commander, something is moving ahead." Harper stood. On screen, a small spacecraft appeared. It was old, with scratches and dents covering its surface. It did not send a signal or respond to hails. Turner stared at it. "It looks human, but abandoned." Harper made a decision. "Prepare a boarding team. We need to check it out." The Odyssey moved closer. A docking tube extended, connecting the 2 ships. Harper, Brooks, and Turner entered the airlock. The door opened, and they stepped into the dark ship. The air was stale. Dust floated in the weak light. Brooks turned on her flashlight and moved forward. Turner checked a control panel. "The power is weak, but some systems still work." Harper walked carefully. "Stay alert. We don't know what happened here." They entered a small control room. A flickering screen showed a log entry. Harper pressed a button, and a voice played. "This is Captain Ryan Cole. We found the colony. They refuse to let us in. They fear outsiders. If you hear this, be careful. They are hiding something." The message ended. The crew exchanged glances. Brooks whispered, What does that mean? Harper's jaw tightened. It means we need to be ready for anything. Turner found a map on the screen. The colony is close. We can reach it in minutes. They returned to the Odyssey and set course for the colony. As they approached, a large metal structure appeared in the distance. It was built into an asteroid, hidden from view. Brooks sent a message. "This is the Odyssey. We are human. We come in peace." There was silence. Then a voice replied, "Turn back. Outsiders are not welcome." Harper took a deep breath. "We have information that could help all of us. Please let us speak." Another pause. Then the voice said, "Dock at the lower bay. No weapons." Harper nodded to his team. "Let's go." The Odyssey landed inside the colony's docking bay. As the crew stepped out, they saw armed guards waiting. Their faces were hard, their eyes filled with suspicion. A woman stepped forward. She had short black hair and a scar on her cheek. "I am Captain Laura Hayes. Why are you here?" Harper held up the data chip. "We found a message. It says this colony is the last hope for humanity." Hayes studied him. "Come with me." The crew followed her through dimly lit hallways. People watched them from the shadows. Some looked afraid. Others looked angry. They entered a large room where an older man sat at a table. He had gray hair and deep lines on his face. "I am Governor Samuel Reed," he said. "What do you want?" Harper placed the chip on the table. "We need to work together. The Vereth are coming. We must be ready." Reed's face darkened. "We don't fight. We survive. That is why we are still here." Brooks stepped forward. "If we don't fight, we will all be destroyed." Hayes crossed her arms. "And if we trust you, what happens when the Vereth follow you here?" Harper met her gaze. "They will come whether we are here or not. The only choice is to stand together." Reed was silent for a long time. Then he sighed. "Let's talk." The fate of the colony and humanity hung in the balance. Commander Eric Harper sat across from Governor Samuel Reed. The air inside the colony's meeting room was tense. The other crew members of the Odyssey stood behind him. Captain Laura Hayes remained near the door, her arms crossed. Harper placed his hands on the table. "We don't have much time. The Vereth could find this place soon." Reed sighed. "We have hidden for years. They have never come here." Dr. Melissa Carter spoke softly. "That doesn't mean they won't." Reed tapped his fingers on the table. "Fighting them is suicide. We don't have enough weapons or ships." Brooks stepped forward. "Then what happens when they do find you? Will you just wait for them to destroy everything?" Reed's eyes darkened. "We have families here. Children. We must protect them." Harper nodded. "That is why we need to prepare. We can't run forever." There was a long silence. Then Hayes spoke. "We have resources, but not enough. We need weapons. We need ships." Harper leaned forward. "We can find them. But we need your help." Reed exchanged glances with Hayes. "There is an old supply depot. It belonged to the last fleet. If the Vereth haven't found it, there could be something useful." Turner's eyes lit up. "Where is it?" Reed pulled up a small map. "It's on a dead moon, a few light years from here. But it could be dangerous." Harper nodded. "We'll take the risk." Reed hesitated, then stood. "I will send Hayes with you. If you find something, we will talk about the next step." Harper shook his hand. "Deal." The Odyssey left the colony and set course for the dead moon. The journey was quiet. Everyone was thinking about what they might find. Turner checked the systems. Scanners show no signs of life. The depot should still be there. Hayes looked at Harper. "If the Vereth find us, we won't stand a chance." Harper nodded. "That's why we have to move fast." The ship landed on the moon's surface. Dust covered everything. The depot was an old metal structure, half buried in the sand. Brooks led the team inside. The air was stale. They moved carefully through the dark hallways. Carter found an old control panel. I can power this up. She pressed a few buttons. The lights flickered, and a screen turned on. A message appeared. Supply Depot Alpha 7. Last accessed 14 years ago. Turner opened a crate. Inside, he found weapons. These could help. Hayes examined another crate. Ship parts. If we can repair your ship, we can fight. Brooks tapped Harper's shoulder. We need to hurry. This place won't stay hidden forever. Harper nodded. Load what we can. We leave in 10 minutes. The crew worked quickly. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. Carter looked at the screen. A ship is approaching. Hayes pulled out her weapon. Verith. Turner checked his scanner. No, it's human. Harper frowned. Who else would be out here? The ship landed near the depot. The door opened, and armed figures stepped out. Their leader, a tall man with a scar across his cheek, smiled. Well, well. Looks like we found some survivors. Harper gripped his weapon. Who are you? The man's smile widened. Call me Vance. And this stuff, it belongs to us now. Commander Eric Harper stared at Vance, his grip tightening on his weapon. The depot was supposed to be abandoned, but now they had a new problem. Vance and his men looked like trouble. Harper kept his voice calm. This depot belongs to the last human fleet. We are here to recover supplies. Vance chuckled. And now it belongs to us. You can walk away or things get messy. Lieutenant Natalie Brooks whispered, They're raiders. We can't trust them. Captain Laura Hayes stepped forward. We don't want to fight, but we won't back down. We need these supplies to fight the Verith. Vance raised an eyebrow. The Verith. They destroyed most of humanity. You think you can stop them? That's a joke. Engineer Jason Turner gritted his teeth. If we don't fight, we lose everything. Dr. Melissa Carter took a step forward. You can help us. We have a colony, a real chance to rebuild. Vance looked at his men. Some of them seemed uncertain. Finally, he sighed. Show me what you found. Harper motioned to the crates. Weapons, ship parts, medical supplies. Enough to make a difference. Vance studied the supplies. We could take these and leave. But maybe you're right. Maybe hiding isn't enough anymore. Hayes crossed her arms. You have a choice. Help us fight or keep running. Vance hesitated, then nodded. Fine. We'll help. But if this turns into a suicide mission, we're out. Harper extended his hand. Deal. Vance shook it. Let's load up and get out of here. We've already made too much noise. The crew and Vance's men worked quickly. Just as they finished, alarms blared. Carter looked at the scanner. Ships incoming. Verith. Harper's stomach dropped. We need to move. Now. The Odyssey and Vance's ship lifted off as Verith ships appeared in the distance. The battle for survival had begun. Commander Eric Harper gripped the controls of the Odyssey as the ship shook under enemy fire. The Verith ships were faster, more advanced, and heavily armed. The crew worked quickly, their faces tense with determination. Lieutenant Natalie Brooks checked the shields. We can't take too many hits. We need a plan. Captain Laura Hayes turned to Vance, who was in the co-pilot seat. You wanted a fight. Here it is. Vance smirked. Let's see if you can keep up. Engineer Jason Turner shouted, diverting power to engines. We might outrun them. Dr. Melissa Carter braced herself. If we get hit again, we won't have enough power to jump. Harper made a quick decision. Head toward the asteroid field. We can use it for cover. The Odyssey and Vance's ship sped toward the floating rocks. The Verith pursued, firing energy blasts. Explosions lit up the dark sky as some asteroids shattered. Brooks guided the ship through the narrow gaps. They're still following. Vance's voice came through the comm. I have an idea. Keep going straight. On my signal. Pull up. Harper hesitated, then nodded. Understood. As the ships weaved through the asteroids, Vance's team released several mines. They floated silently in space. Now, Vance shouted. Harper pulled up just as the mines exploded. The blast sent shockwaves through space, throwing the Vereth ships off course. 2 enemy ships crashed into asteroids. The others slowed down. Brooks cheered. That worked. Hayes smirked. Not bad, Vance. Vance chuckled. Told you I was useful. Harper didn't relax yet. We need to reach the colony before they regroup. Punch in the coordinates. Turner tapped the controls. Coordinates locked. Engaging warp drive. The stars stretched as the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. The Vereth were left behind, but Harper knew they would return. The real battle was still ahead. The Odyssey dropped out of warp near the colony. The planet below looked peaceful, but Harper knew danger was coming. The Vereth would not stop hunting them. Captain Laura Hayes checked the scanners. No signs of enemy ships yet. Lieutenant Natalie Brooks let out a breath. We might have a little time. Vance crossed his arms. Then we better use it. We need to prepare. Governor Samuel Reed appeared on the comm screen. Did you find the supplies? Harper nodded. And more. We have weapons, ship parts, and allies. But the Vereth know we're here. We don't have much time. Reed's face was grim. Then we make our stand. The colony sprang into action. Engineers repaired the old defense systems. Volunteers trained with weapons. Vance's people shared their combat experience. The colony was no longer just a refuge. It was a fortress. Dr. Melissa Carter organized the medical center. We need to be ready for casualties. Turner and the engineers worked on the ships. If we can get these working, we'll have a fighting chance. Harper stood on the command platform, watching. This was it, the last stand of humanity. Then the alarms blared. Hayes ran to the controls. Vereth ships incoming. A whole fleet. Brooks clenched her fists. They found us. Harper's voice was steady. Then we fight. The colony's cannons powered up. Fighters launched into the sky. The Odyssey led the charge. The battle for the future had begun.